No matter what sport you collect, there are cards going up like crazy. I'm excited to tell you about them in today's Top 5 Cards.
My name is Jeff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies. And at night, I invest in sports cards. Join me on my journey to profit from the hobby we all love.
Sports card investors, and welcome to another Top 5 Tuesday. I'm excited about this episode today because, man, did we have a difficult time figuring out which cards to put in the top 5 today. There are cards in every single sport and in every single part of the hobby that are going up right now. Ultra modern, vintage going up. Football, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey. Hockey's been on fire. Have you guys been paying attention to hockey? Going up. Lots of great things happening across the sports card market. And even though we could only pick 5 cards for this show each week, you can track tons of other cards, actually thousands and thousands of other cards and how they're moving in the Sports Card Investor app. And guys, look who's leading the Sports Card Investor app. We actually have a lot of Hall of Fame type players, all-time great type players. They have been very hot, certainly the last month. You got Derek Jeter leading the way today. You got Shaquille O'Neal in the number 2 spot. Kobe Bryant, we talked about him last week in top 3 cards. He's up there as well. And then a couple of Michael Jordan cards in the top 5. That's pretty cool to see. A lot of the Hall of Famers, a lot of the all-time greats are finding their way into the top part of the hobby in terms of price increases. And look, I talk a lot on this show about ultra modern cards. It's fun to talk about, the rookie cards from the last few years because those are the players that have the biggest price swings typically because their on-court performance, their breakout performance is what can cause their cards to jump 2, 3, 4x overnight. But often it's your Hall of Famers, it's your all-time greats that are the ones that are more of the slow but steady value increasers over time, and they're more of your safe investment. And of course, I'll never sit here and tell you that any investment in sports cards is 100% safe because it's not. But if you look back historically, investing in the all-time greats, investing in the Hall of Famers, investing in the veterans, those are the cards that go slow but steady, but they tend to go up and up and up and up and up. And if you're going to hold cards for 5, 10, 20 years, those are great cards to be holding. Now, they're not as fun, depending on what your definition of fun is, as collecting some of the modern players. I get the thrill personally out of, buying the player who then has a couple of breakout nights and his cards double or triple in value. But there is certainly something to be said for collecting those Hall of Famers, and I do a lot of that as well. I've got a huge Kobe collection that I have built. I've got some great Michael Jordan cards. I've got a bunch of great LeBron cards, although I guess he's not quite in that, Hall of Fame category yet, but he's certainly on his way. And it is exciting to see many of those cards breaking in to the top few slots of the Sports Card Investor app this week. By the way, if you have not downloaded the Sports Card Investor app, I don't know what you're doing, quite frankly. I don't know what you're doing because this is totally free. It is 100% free. It is in the App Store on your phone. Go to the App Store right now, search for Sports Card Investor, download this app. It is, by the way, the best way to shop for cards as well because all you got to do is swipe up and you can find all of these good deals by swiping up and looking throughout the app. You can sometimes find cards that are selling for below market value. It's good stuff. Also good stuff is today's top 5. So ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and jump right in. Starting off in the number 5 spot today, this is proof that being bad can sometimes be good for your card prices, because that is happening right now with Dwayne Haskins. Yes, Dwayne Haskins, the quarterback that for the last 2 years with the Washington football team looked pretty lost. This guy was drafted in 2019 as the 15th overall pick. He was thought to be the future of the Washington football team, but he didn't even last 2 complete seasons. However, like what we often see happen in the sports card hobby, when a player switches teams, whether it's a trade or a free agency signing, there's all of a sudden some new hope. And a bunch of investors rush in and take a chance on that player from kind of a speculative position in hopes that that player's career is rekindled and they turn into something great. And that is exactly what we have seen with Dwayne Haskins. Because as you know, he was recently let go by the Washington football team and signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And who knows what his future is in Pittsburgh. I personally don't have high hopes for him based on his play the last couple of years, but what I do know is that Ben Roethlisberger cannot have a lot left in the tank. That's kind of clear. So maybe, just maybe, Dwayne Haskins will get his chance. And that's what sports card investors are hoping, and you can see that from this price increase in the last few days. This is Dwayne Haskins 2019 Prism base card in PSA 10 that we are looking at on the screen. You can see this card was certainly uninspired for the last few months, sitting at around $30 for the PSA 10 of this card, which, by the way, that is not much more than it cost you to actually grade the card. So you can tell that, investors were not very into these cards having a whole lot of value. But all of a sudden, news of him signing with Pittsburgh breaks, and this card goes from $30 to over $100 over the course of a couple of days. This card right now is sitting at $108. That is a 226% increase, as people are optimistic about the chance that Haskins can have in Pittsburgh. What do you think? You think this guy's got a chance? Or you think this guy's just never going to be seen or heard from again? Let me know what you think in the comments below. In our number 4 spot today, an esteemed member of the 2012 basketball rookie class, but not the guy or the guys you're thinking about. You see, that 2012 basketball rookie class had a ton of great players, and especially if you consider who was considered a rookie in Prism or Select in 2012 basketball, because they actually took the liberty of taking the rookies from 2011 and calling them rookies as well. So you actually had 2 years of rookies crammed into 2012 Prism and Select and designated as rookies those years. So you had a lineup that included guys like Anthony Davis and Kawhi Leonard and Kyrie Irving and Bradley Beal and Jimmy Butler and Klay Thompson and Damian Lillard and Draymond Green. But there's another name that I didn't just mention that actually has been the guy who's been going up the most in recent weeks. Do you know who I'm talking about? Formerly of the Detroit Pistons, now of your Cleveland Cavaliers, but maybe not for long, Andre Drummond. And it's not like Andre Drummond is an unknown player. I mean, this guy has been an all-star twice. He has actually had a double-double in both points and rebounds in 7 of his 8 seasons. But this year, he's really breaking out. And he's breaking out because he's put up some incredible numbers this year. He just recently had a game against the Knicks with 33 points and 23 rebounds. And this guy has put a lot of offensive production on the floor this year. But in addition to that, there's now rumors that he's going to get traded out of Cleveland. And as we just learned when we talked about Dwayne Haskins a minute ago, when players switch teams, it often means good things for their card prices, because it means new hope of what they could bring somewhere new and maybe even find their way into a really great situation with a championship potential in their future. I should mention, by the way, potentially the largest, in fact, I'm going to definitely say the largest Andre Drummond card collector in the world. He works for us here at Sports Card Investor. His name is Tyler Nethercott. Goes by Teapot if you've watched some of our shows in the past. And check him out on Instagram because he has an incredible Andre Drummond collection. But that is not the reason why Andre Drummond is in our top 5 today. The reason why Andre Drummond is in our top 5 is because his cards are doing this. Take a look at this. This is his 2012 Prism base card in PSA 10, and you can see what the combination of that good play plus the trade rumors have done to his card prices. In fact, you could have bought his card prices going back to the offseason before the season started, beginning of December. This was only a $60 card. This was not a very sought after card from that 2012 Prism set. But now this card's going to set you back over $300. Yes, that's correct, ladies and gentlemen. Since the start of the season, this card has gone up from $60 to over $300. And if we go back 90 days ago, that's an increase of 369%. You can see why you would be happy if you had a nice collection of Andre Drummond cards, perhaps like my friend Tyler is. In the number 3 spot today, a quarterback who put on an absolute show this past weekend. Isn't it great to see the Kansas City Chiefs offense rolling again? Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, they went nuts this past weekend against the Buffalo Bills. But of course, the man who got them the ball, Patrick Mahomes. And we all know what Patrick Mahomes has accomplished over the last few years. And we all also know that his card prices are already incredibly high. But guess what? They're continuing to go up and up and up in anticipation of this Super Bowl, which, by the way, how lucky are we as sports fans to have this matchup of Brady versus Mahomes? This is going to be a true classic for the ages to watch. I'm excited about it. Who do you have? Let me know in the comments below. We'll see what the audience is feeling on the, if you're feeling the Bucs or if you're feeling the Chiefs. Either way, what we know is that Brady's cards have been doing great and Mahomes' cards have been doing great. And in fact, if we look here on the screen, I brought up 3 of his cards. I've got his 2017 Prism Silver in PSA 10. That's the top line on the screen. This card going back 3 months ago was right at $5,000. This card today is right over $9,000, all the way up at almost $9,500. Doubling essentially over the course of the last 90 days. Pretty impressive, but it's not just that Prism Silver that's leading the way. You could have also seen his cards increase substantially even if you were in a less expensive card of his. And I use less expensive in air quotes because they all cost a pretty penny. But something like his Optic Base or his Select Premier level card. And in fact, if we change to our price change graph and put them all in relative comparison, you can actually see that it's his Select Premier level card that has increased the most over the course of the last 90 days. His Select Premier level card is actually up 157%. That one in PSA 10 will currently set you back $2,300. Not cheap by any means, but certainly less expensive than the Prism Silver will set you back from that same year. It's exciting to see what Mahomes cards are doing, and I'm excited to see what they do here in the next couple of weeks as we go towards the Super Bowl. Our number 2 spot this week is a solemn one because it goes to the late, great Hank Aaron. Being here in Atlanta, Hank Aaron is like a god. His name is all over the ballpark, all over town. People revere Henry Aaron, and they should. He's a wonderful, wonderful man and a wonderful ball player. And it has been awesome to learn a little bit more about his life since his passing and all of the coverage that his life has gotten. I did not realize how incredibly consistent his career was. I knew that Hank Aaron was the true home run king, right? I knew that 755 and how iconic that is, and honestly a record that should really still be recognized as the home run title today, in my opinion. But what I didn't know is how unbelievably consistent his home run production was over such a long career. In fact, he hit more than 30 home runs, 15 years. That is an absolutely incredible feat. He did win the World Series in 1957, won the batting title twice, won the Gold Glove 3 times. I mean, just an outstanding career for an outstanding man. And whenever you have anyone of a big name pass in the sports card world, you often see his prices go up right away. And I don't think it's speculators just trying to make a quick buck on somebody's death. I don't think it's that. I think it is people that remember Hank Aaron fondly, and the news about his death and all of the coverage that it gets reminds them of what an impactful player and an impactful person they were, and that causes them to want to go out and buy their cards. And that's what we've seen happen in the wake of Hank Aaron's passing. If we look on the screen here, we can see his iconic 1954 Topps card. Really, really cool looking card. Gosh, a really cool card of the young Henry Aaron. And you can see that card here in PSA 4 condition, PSA 5 condition, and PSA 6 condition. And you can see all of these cards have certainly gone up in the last few days since the news of his death broke. They've gone up pretty considerably. And I'm sure that they will continue to go up. I'm sure, these are cards that any serious baseball card collector, if you're into vintage and you're into baseball, you have to have these cards in your collection. You gotta have a Hank Aaron 1954 Topps in your collection. It is an iconic card. And if you don't have it already, maybe you want one now. Maybe you should get one now, because those are beautiful cards, and certainly something that you can hold on to and cherish for a very long time. All right, we've arrived to the number one spot in today's countdown. And this number one spot is indicative of how quickly the hobby reacts these days to big things happening in the sports card world. That was on display more than ever Saturday night when Dustin Poirier beat Conor McGregor's butt. And Dustin Poirier's card prices took off as a result. Now, this was actually a great fight. Poirier came in as a pretty big underdog to Conor McGregor. McGregor was supposed to win this fight. Of course, McGregor is the much better known guy with all the swag and all that kind of stuff. But Poirier hung tough, and in the second round, he kept kicking McGregor's leg, clearly got to him, and then he just knocked McGregor down, and McGregor was not able to get back up. It was a surprising result for many, but the second that happened, there were people on eBay clicking every buy it now button they could find. And Poirier's prices have shot up over the last couple of days. Take a look here at his 2011 Topps Finest UFC rookie auto card in raw condition. This is real low print run stuff. I mean, there are not a whole lot of Dustin Poirier cards out there on the market, but this is, the most sought after of them, because this is his UFC rookie card. And this was a card that, the week leading into the fight was $80, $70, $88, right before the fight. And then it got up to $100 right before the fight happened. And then all of a sudden, he lands the shot on McGregor. McGregor goes down for the account, and all of a sudden this starts selling for $300. $300 over the course of one fight. His cards tripled in price. They went from $100 to $300, but that is the way of the hobby these days, and that is why Dustin Poirier is this week's number one hot card of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed watching this episode and looking at all of these graphs and all of this data, this all came from Market Movers. And for less than $25 a month, you can get access to Market Movers and look at these types of charts and graphs and all kinds of detailed analytics on more than 10,000 cards, allowing you to find great investment opportunities throughout the hobby. For more information, go to sportscardinvestor.com and click on Market Movers in the main menu bar. And guys, also, don't forget to download that Sports Card Investor app in the App Store. Just search Sports Card Investor in the App Store on your phone. And before you go, one final thing. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button for me and hit that little bell icon. Every subscriber makes a difference, and we really appreciate you subscribing and hitting that bell icon for us. All right, I'll let you go now. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you back in a couple of days with our next episode. Take care.